What's going on, everyone? In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can find really cheap teacher edition high school books that you can buy on Amazon right now and then resell on Amazon for a profit. If you're new to the channel, my name is Joji. I'm a high school teacher and a six-figure bookseller, and I'm here to teach you guys how to buy books on Amazon, sell them on Amazon, hopefully create some sizable side hustle income, and maybe one day replace your 9-to-5 job. So I'm over here on my Amazon homepage, and I'm going to go to the Manage Orders page. And what inspired this video was the fact that over the last couple of days, I've actually been able to sell a couple of teacher edition textbooks. For example, you can see yesterday at 6:45 p.m. we sold Larson Pre-Algebra Teacher's Edition, Common Core Edition. We sold that for $116. And you can see I bought this on February 26th of this year for $43.72. And if you look at the Keep It chart, essentially you can see over the last year, this was selling in the 80s, up into the hundreds. And then I actually was tracking this book because it's a replay. I've sold it before in the past. I sold it last textbook season, and I'm going to sell it again this textbook. Oh, as you saw, I just sold it again this textbook season. But you can see the price of this drop from 57 all the way down to below my tracker, and so that's where I picked up a couple of copies actually. And now if I scroll down to the orders page here on Seller Amp, you'll be able to see that I've sold this multiple times. You can see, I generally sell it for right around $115. It's been bought as high as $149, got refunded a couple times. A lot of people ask what happens when the book gets refunded. Well, the customer has to ship the book back to Amazon, and usually Amazon inspects it. It's probably in fine condition, and then it just goes right back into active inventory, and then somebody can buy it again. Now, if I scroll down on that same day, actually 2 days before, I was also able to buy and sell United States History Teacher's Edition here. So this sold for $83. You can see we actually picked this up on April 30th of this year. We purchased this one for a total of $24.98, and I'm pretty sure I actually picked up a couple copies of this. So with our sales price of $83.40, you can see we made a 125% ROI, $31 profit. Isn't even technically the high school textbook season yet, but this is again another book that has just over a long period of time has held some pretty good value. It's been had multiple sales ring drop, which has indicated that it's actually been selling. And same thing with this book. Was tracking this book with the Keep It Track product feature. I think I'm tracking it for $25. You can see that happened here for about 2 weeks. A lot of you could have picked up a couple copies. Again, I did pick up a couple copies because of the fact that in the previous July-August season, it was selling in the 80s and 90s. So cool that I was able to sell a little bit of head time. But those two recent sales inspired this video. How do you find teacher edition books? Actually quite easy. You just use Keep It Product Finder, and I'm going to show you how to do it right now. Just 1 second before we get into that, remember that the Books and Beyond Resellers Conference is happening this September 13th to 15th in Las Vegas, Nevada. Ton of amazing speakers, awesome lineup, and I'm really hoping that you guys show up so I can meet you there. But let's get into Keep It Product Finder. Okay, so I'm over here on keepit.com. We're going to go to Data, we're going to go to Product Finder. And what you should notice about these two books that I just flipped is that in the title, there's teachers, which is going to be a keyword we're going to use in Keep It Product Finder to find teacher edition book. Also in this Larson Pre-Algebra book, same thing. You can see there's teachers ''S. Now, pro tip here, a lot of teacher edition listings on Amazon also have teacher edition, not teacher ''S. So we're actually going to use the title teacher ''S and also just teacher in our search here. And the reason why we're going to use that as a title search is because there isn't like a subcategory that's going to tell us about teachers editions. Like there's not a subcategory in the book category for teachers editions. But another tip here, Common Core is one of the curriculum, or it is the curriculum that math has gone with. I think it's actually in the entire United States. Maybe it's just California. I think it's the entire United States. So Common Core is actually a great subcategory to look for books, especially high school books. Just a little tip there. But over here in Keep It Product Finder, the first thing that we're going to do is scroll all the way to the bottom, and we're going to go ahead and select books for the root the root category. And under the text field, we're actually going to write in a title. So what we're going to write in is teacher ''S like this. And you can see that brings us down to 84,000 products that have teachers in it in the book category. Now, of course, we're going to want to do some further filtering. I'm going to Control F, type in drops. And over the last 180 days, I'm going to go and put in a drop of at least one. So that brings us down to 6,800. Now, for these sort of teacher's edition books, generally we're looking for the listings that Amazon is not on. So I'm going to also come up here and say for Amazon, we want to make sure that they're out of stock. That brings us down to 5,060 products. And then we can just do a really basic search, and let's search for anything that's under $15 right now. So let's bring this down to 2,000 products. And we want this to hold some decent value. So let's just say anything over the last 180 days has had a used price of at least $25. That brings us down to 60. So we got pretty low, 60 offers or 60 different potential buys. Now, normally when you do a keyword product finder search, you should expect to find, like if you have really good filters, maybe about 3 to 5% of those. So in this case, I bet you would find at least 2 or 3 pretty good winners in here. So let's go and click find products and see if we can't find anything good. Now I'm just gonna use my cursor and hover over some products, and this is the third one down that catches my eye. What catches my eye is that the used price is very high the whole year, and then today's price down here is actually the cheapest you could have bought it in the last year. We see a sales rank drop at 45, at 34, and at 21. So that tells me, okay, the book has sold at least 3 times in the last year. Really expanding historical data to see how this book has performed over its entire history is what's really going to make the decision. And I can already tell right off the bat, this is something that I'd be interested in buying at least 1 copy of, maybe 2, but probably not more than that. You can see in 2022, sales rank drop at 97, 90, 74, and 72. Also, you see little dips in offer count here and there, which indicates that the book is probably also selling more than what we see. There's probably times when the book is selling, but again, sales rank doesn't always drop when a book sells. And one way that you'll see that is if you ever look at any of your orders, go back a couple of days, look at the keyword graph. Sometimes you'll notice especially your books that have higher sales ranks, you'll sell a book and the sales rank will record you won't see a sales rank drop. Not really sure why, but that's just something that I've noticed. So in this case, there's enough evidence and data to suggest that this can easily sell for 40 or 50 bucks. You can pick it up for $6 plus $4 shipping. So if there's any copies there, feel free to pick that up. But that's a great, that's the third option down. So pretty good hit there. Now, just 2 down from that, Ready Classroom, Mathematics Grade 4. This looks amazing to me right here. I mean, you can see that this is a book that in the past has been lower and then went back up in used price. You can see it is at a higher used offer count than normal. With that said, there's enough data for me to be interested and intrigued in this. It sells quite a bit. It can sell up to 90 bucks. So selling in the 30s and 50s, and you don't necessarily need to sell this for $50 or $89 to make profit either. For something like this, I'm really looking at, okay, well, who's on the listing? Are there a lot of prime offers and such? And also kind of how do I perceive this book in terms of like its longevity, right? This was published, actually doesn't even have a publication date here. Actually, no, 2020 here. So I would assume that this is probably going to be relevant for a couple more years. Generally, high school books tend to be relevant for pretty long. And this is something that I would, again, look at the offers. So first thing, let's look at the prime offers, see who's on the listing. Obviously, the more prime offers there are, the worse it is. You can see that there's actually somebody who has 11 in stock. If you're not seeing stock quantity, you need to be seeing stock quantity. And the way that you can see stock quantity pretty easy is over on Keepa. When you come up here to the top right under your settings, you open that up. Come over here to the far right on the website cog, and you just scroll down under add-on settings, and you're going to want to make sure that display stock quantity on offer listing pages is yes. That only works in Chrome, Firefox, and Edge, by the way. It's actually defaulted to no. So you want to be defaulted to yes. You want to change it. Also, while we're here, make sure to show history overlays when hovering Amazon products. It's also defaulted no. Make sure that says yes. That's just so that you can see it. Keep a snapshot when you hover over the title of a book. But this is, again, something that I normally would be interested in. But the fact that we have a rising offer count and we're at a higher offer count than we've ever been in the past, and the fact that we've got, this guy with 11 copies, he's an Amazon FBA seller, and he also has another listing with 3 there. So there's enough copies on here that I wouldn't want to buy. But for example, if the used offer count here is at 20 and there was maybe 1 prime offer, and let's say it was at $22, I would definitely buy a copy. But in this case, there's just a lot of FBA competition at a really low price and a really high offer count, so I'd pass on this. But from first look, looked to be a great book. The one right below looks interesting. You can see that even though we weren't trying to search for books that Amazon was on the listing on, this is actually a book that Amazon just went off the listing on. You can see that this had previous sales rank drops from June to October, maybe 6 or 7 sales at at least $60. Probably most of those were in new condition because the used price was so close to the new price. But this is a book that you can tell its velocity in terms of the number of sales rank drops, and the frequency has definitely slowed down. There's some potential there. Now the one right below looks pretty good, McDougall Littell, which is a really good high school publisher that you can use to search for other high school books that are non-teacher edition books. And you can see that this did pretty well August, September, October. For something like this, you wouldn't want to buy more than a single copy, but this is something to monitor because it can easily sell up into the 40s. And if this gets a little bit lower, this is a little bit high. If you can get under $10 shipped, I think that would be good. Now, a couple down, we have Prentice Hall Mathematics here. This sold, looks like twice maybe up in the 60s. Last July, August was selling quite a bit, really at a low price. You can actually see that this season might be pretty good though, because you can already see the offer count has changed pretty substantially in a pretty short period of time. What I like about this is if you look back at its historical data, it has definitely shown that it sells during that high school textbook season and has precedent of selling up to 150 and up to 180 for quite a bit, even at a pretty high offer count as well. So I would say this is a book that I would be interested in buying, as has sold upwards of 90 in the past, 1 year time span. And I think that at its current use offer count, this would be something that's good. So again, look at the listing, see how many prime offers. It looks like there is one prime offer right there at $14. Wouldn't be too worried about it if it was just one person. Looks like we have actually 3 prime offers and they're all really low. So that's actually not bad because then it jumps up to 45, right? And you can compete with 45 because if you can pick one up at $14.77, you can compete at the 45 price and still be profitable. You'll be making a 68% ROI, $10 profit at the, at the lowest price. These are definitely going to sell at these ones here. So yeah, I think that that's a good book there. Now, just a couple down, a solid book here. Definitely sold a lot in August, September, was out of stock for a good period of time as well. What I love about books that go out of stock is that if you have the book, you're the market. Somebody needs the book, they're going to pay you. Obviously, that doesn't mean you're going to pay, ask $10,000 for this book. But if it's selling in the 40s or 50s and it's out of stock and there's still demand, you might be able to sell it for 65, 75, even 85, right? So you definitely can have a little bit of a markup. What I also love about books that often go out of stock like this is that if you are a newer seller, that offers you the opportunity to sell these books more easily, right? Because one of the hard things about starting Amazon as a new FBA bookseller is that you're not buy box eligible. And that's because Amazon needs it to make sure that you're a legitimate seller. They need to make sure that customers aren't having issues with your books. And if you are selling books on listings that tend to go out of stock, then you're going to be the feature offer, right? If you're the only offer there, the chances of you selling the book is significantly higher. You can start getting the ball rolling. As you sell more books, it's way more likely that you'll eventually become buy box eligible. I love it for a variety of reasons, but this is a book I'm thinking, buy here for 12, easily sell in the 40s, if not higher, especially when it goes out of stock. This is also a newer sort of book as well, right? This came out not too long ago. Now, a couple down, another good one here. It looks like we've got ourselves a book that has sold as high as 60, selling in the 40s, actually does really well in January, which is interesting, selling in the 30s. It's down here at 13. Offer count isn't significantly higher. It's sold plenty of times in the past in the 30s, upwards of the 40s. So again, another book that looks pretty decent. Now, one also huge tip I have for you is you should be tracking all these books. Like this book here is a great book at the right price. I mean, plenty of sales in the 35s. This book at $12 shipped or under is a great book. Down here, there's nobody tracking this book. You could be the only person tracking this. You can see that the book dropped in price here from $30 down to $8 plus shipping. I would have purchased that book if I could have been there at that point in time. Maybe I did purchase it. I don't know. But actually, I think I did purchase this book, but I'm not even tracking it. So if you can track this book, then and there's nobody else tracking it, when this book gets really cheap, then you have opportune times to come in and, like, for example, you could have come in there, you could have come in there, and you would have had plenty of opportunity to sell it at a pretty good price. Now, just a few more down. This book looks great on first impression. Plenty of sales in the 40s. And guys, you have to think about it. When I say plenty of sales, you got to think of my mindset, right? I'm always about longer tail books. I'm looking for books that hold high historical value and sell infrequently. They sell consistently, but infrequently. And 5 or 6 sales rate drops to me is actually pretty good, right? Especially if there's a large potential margin between what we're buying the book for versus what we can sell for. So, I mean, great historical data showing that it's selling in the 40s. And you can see that down here, it's at probably under $10 ship. Came across this National Geographic reach volume. You can see only 1 sales rate drop in the last year at 60. It's down here at 5. If you expand over the last 3,000 days, it's had plenty of sales rate drops in the 30s, even up in the 70s. So again, a book that would take a long time to sell, but the ROI potential, the margins there. Now, one last thing that I wanted to show about this California Teachers Edition book that we just looked at a moment ago is, a lot of you look at this keeper graph and find this concerning that it stopped selling in December, right? If you look from basically January until May of this year, you don't see any sales rate drops, which would indicate that the book isn't selling. But you're always looking for trends when you're looking at keeper, right? If you were to look at the previous year before that at that same time stretch, think of like January 2023 to May 2023. So in other words, like the exact copy of this year, right? January of this year to May of this year. If you were to look at January of 2023 to May of 2023, what would you have seen? Well, you would have seen the identical thing. There was actually no sales rate drops at all. You can see it. And so what you would say is, well, what ended up happening that previous year? Well, you had some selling drops in November, which is what we see just happened in the end of 2023. Then you had no sales from January to May, and then all of a sudden you had sales here in July, August, and September and December. So a good book there that, again, I would pick up a copy of, maybe 1 or 2 copies of. And this video is getting really long. All I want to do is show you that teacher's edition books can sell really well. I mean, I've already just sold a couple in the last couple days, and just remember to sell them on the correct listing. All of these listings here say teacher's edition on them. They actually have the teacher's edition, there on the book. So it's pretty obvious that if someone wants to buy this book, they're a teacher at a school. And again, it's not like the teacher is going to Amazon and buying it. It's like the school district is needing to buy the book for their teacher. So they're going over there to the Amazon listing and buying it. And the great thing is when schools use their money to buy these books, they're not really very price sensitive. They're kind of like, hey, we need a book, let's go buy it no matter what price it is. So I sell tons of teacher's edition books, and a lot of them turn out to make a lot of money. So you enjoy the content, leave a thumbs up, and let me know what else you want to see down below in the comment section. So that's all I got for you today. I hope you have a good one, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.